What's up, guys? This is Matt with Team Dokuso doing my first deck profile. This isn't actually my main deck. This is just a deck that I've been experimenting with for a couple weeks now. It's just a dark Gadget deck. Yeah, I'll pull out. Let me know what you think. Just basically got your start out. Two yellow Gadgets, two red Gadgets, two green Gadgets. Need to get myself some hobby leagues of those, but basic 6 Gadgets. 9's kind of overkill. That'd be way too much. Two Cyber Dragon, card that you're going to run in any deck running Gadgets, especially with so many people running Machina Gadgets right now. Pretty easy to contact Fusion out for your Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon and basically just jack all their machine monsters. Coming onto the dark side of the deck, got two DD Crows. I think this deck's a lot. I think this card's a lot better than a lot of people think, especially in this format. It can stop, not really stop, but put a big hold on a lot of the good decks out there right now, with X Sabers and Dark Arm Dragons being run a lot more than it has been. Puts a hold on Judgment Dragon for a while. Just gets you kind of a safe leeway, especially, there's just so many good applications with it, especially with Monster Reborn being out. That's what I say before a lot of the time. If I know my opponent's about to drop a Monster Reborn, I'll have that DD Crow in hand and stop a huge play, basically overthrow their plan. It's just absolutely beastly with Monster Reborn and Call of the Haunted both being out right now. Coming onto the dark side of the deck, got one Spirit Reaper. Spirit Reaper is just a great overall card, especially in this deck. First off, because it's dark, that helps the dark attribute support. It's a great stall card if you're ever in an emergency situation, if they bust out anything big against you. Plus, it definitely works well. It has good synergy with the Gadgets, attack, do some damage, drop a card from their hand. Absolutely great for card advantage. One Sanguine. Sanguine's just really, really good. It's kind of I think it's getting to the point where it's kind of a staple in almost any deck, or at least just a lot of them. Sanguine will pull out plenty of stuff, pull out DD Crow, pull out Spirit Reaper, get you a Gale to your hand, get you just about anything you need for the situation that you're in. It's a great card. In this format, I think Breaker is an absolute beastly card. A lot of people are kind of underrating it. When in this format with Heavy Storm being banned, it's just kind of a card you put out there and kind of makes your opponent think, ah, crap, what am I gonna do? They're either gonna Solemn Judgment, Solemn Warning, or they're just gonna, if they have a bottomless handy, then they're gonna bottomless it. It just basically it forces out their traps, and if they don't do anything in reply, then you're gonna pop one of their backfields, one of their back rows, and it's just gonna cause some major damage. Onto tuners. Got Blackwing Gale, just kind of obvious card to use. Pretty much the best tuner out there right now. Dark, obviously, instant half attack. It's just beastly. There's no reason you wouldn't run it. Two X-Saber Airbellums. I find that these cards are just beastly with the whole card advantage that you want to try to gain with Gadgets. You're just going to drop this guy, attack, do some damage, drop a card from their hand, give you a super good card advantage against anything you're going to run against. And usually I drop pretty big things with it. Onto the boss monsters. Got two Caius, Shadow Monarch. There's not really much I can say. Caius, drop it, pop either a back row or one of their monsters, something face down, whatever. Get stuff out of the way. It's really good. You can even, drop one of your own monsters for game if you wanna. If they got 700 life points left or whatever, you can just pop it, drop your own Caius, remove it from play for game. Done that a couple times. Gores, pretty obvious, becoming a pretty big staple nowadays. It's dark, 2700 attack, super easy to drop. Your opponent never really sees it coming unless you kind of have a really bad tell, which if you do, you probably shouldn't be playing the game. And of course, the big boss monster, Dark Arm Dragon himself. It's not really much I can say about this guy. If you don't know why he's good, then you obviously haven't been playing for very long. So alright, on to the spells. Since we're running Gadgets, we got your 3 Smashing Grounds. Smashing Ground's a beastly card. I say that a lot, but it just really is. Drop it, get rid of their big guys. 1-for-1 card advantage. Gadgets, your hand's gonna be flooded with monsters, so it's just gonna give you the great card advantage that you need. Take over the game. 3 Fissures, same idea behind it. Just drop it, drop one of their monsters, 1-for-1. Any 1-for-1 card is really good in a Gadget deck, but these are just some of the best ones. Double MST, obviously, you know, you're going to want to do that. Heavy Storm's gone. Anyone who doesn't run double MST is kind of, they must have a really good reason, or they're just kind of dumb. Double Book of Moon, I was running triple, but I think it's a lot slower in this format. There's nothing really big that it stops anymore. Blackwings were huge. They were tier 1. Uh, I might consider them still tier 1 maybe, but they're just not as big of a threat as they were. It's definitely beastly, you know, against Blackwings, but there's just not enough threats going right now that Book of Moon does anything against to run 3, so I think 2 is a good number. Uh, let's see. Obviously, staple, Monster Reborn. If you're not running it, then you should just throw your cards away because there's no point not to run it. You could run an Oppression deck and still throw in Monster Reborn. Dark Hole, another staple. Again, don't know why it came back, but it came back, so play it or lose, pretty much. Running Darks, so obviously Lure of Darkness, pretty good card. Drop in an emergency situation, get what you need to take over the game, or, you know, do it early. Sometimes this card can turn a no hand into a great hand. A card that I feel is really good right now in this format, Nobleman of Crossout. It's just so good right now against, you know, Raikou, Hamster, basically all those cards that people are just setting and you're running into. You know, basically there's going to be a lot more set monsters in this format than there usually is, and it's just beastly to take them out, really. They don't really expect you to run this. It's a basic 1-for-1. Has kind of a, you know, you're not going to be able to use it all the time, but when you can use it, you're not going to be disappointed that you had it. Another card that I find is really good in this format is Scapegoat. You know, it has its place in every format. I think in this format there's a lot more, you know, the decks are getting a lot faster. They're busting out a lot more monsters at one time. So this is going to be, I think this is going to get you a lot better of a stall than, you know, Swords of Revealing Light or anything like that. You know, drop it, you get 4 tokens to the field. You can use them for synchro summoning, you know, whatever. Obviously not going to tribute them, but there's just so many uses for them. Defensive, offensive, whatever you need. On to the traps. Got Staple, Torrential Tribute. Don't really need to explain that. 2 Bottomless. Again, shouldn't have to explain that. Sorry about my phone. Royal Oppression kind of sucks that it's taken down to 1, and you may kind of ask why I'm running this when this deck special summons so much, but honestly, I've never really had a problem working around it. You know, I've never had a problem having it set, getting my synchros out, and then, you know, pulling it on them to stop, you know, whatever they try to pull out. I've never really had a problem. When Mirror Force comes out, common, I'm probably going to find a place in this deck. I'm kind of a budget player, as is most of Team Dokuso, so don't really have the option of running Mirror Force right now. Onto the extra deck, again, kind of budget, but basic. Stardust Dragon, don't run it, then you're crazy. Dark End Dragon times 3. Absolute amazing card in this deck. So easy to pull out with all the darks in here, and this card just runs over anything that your opponent's got out on the field. Anti-destruction isn't going to work because it doesn't destroy it, it just sends it to the graveyard, so that's a pretty neat loophole. Bust it out if they got Stardust Dragon, Bryo, you know, anything like that, just pop it to the grave, and it works really well with It works really well with Book of Moon because you just flip it over, flip it back up, and its attack resets. You get more, you know, destructions per se, although it's not destroying. Like I said, kind of a budget extra deck, so I got Colossal Fighter just in there as another 8-star, pretty high beat stick attack, so, you know, for whatever it's worth. Ally of Justice Light Gazer, I find that this card is really, really super good against Light Sworns. You bust this thing out, and it's not going to have any less attack than 3,000 if you do it like mid-game. It's most likely going to have a lot more than that, actually. Run over their Judgment Dragon. I've done that a couple times, you know. They're not expecting you to get out anything bigger than JD, but you bust it out pretty easy with Light Gazer. Black Rose Dragon, need 2 more of those. It's just so easy to pull out, especially in this format and with this deck. It's super easy to pull out. Just bust a Gale and a Gadget, or Airbellum and a Gadget. Instant Black Rose Dragon. I think it's kind of too beastly at 3, but whatever, I'll take it for what it's worth. Scrap Archfiend, 2700 attack, 7-star. What more do you want? Let's see, Psychic Life Transfer, budget, but you know, just another 7-star. 2400 attack, not horrible. Gaia Knight, Force of the Earth, 6-star, 2600. What are you gonna do? Flamvell or Urquizus. I actually like this card a lot just because they're setting so much right now in this format that it's so easy to get the piercing damage, bump its attack up, and it's just pretty good. I do kind of need to get a Bryo. He'll probably replace Gaia Knight once I actually get my hands on one. But until then, I'll just run Gaia Knight. Catastor, this actually isn't mine. This is Jack's. Jack, if you're watching this, I need to give this back to you. But until then, it's in my extra deck, so you can deal with that. You know, I don't really need to explain why that's a good card. I shouldn't have to. Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, absolutely necessary in this deck. Unfortunately, I only have my hands on one right now. It's pretty hard to get in this format. Need to get 2 more. I just got these other 2 kind of crappy, you know, Cyber Dragon cards. Just as a reminder that I need to get 2 more of these, but this card's absolutely necessary in this deck. Beastly card, get out. Huge attack monster, just take them out. Let's see, on to the extra deck. A card that not a lot of people are going to be expecting this format, but I think has always been a fairly good card. Green Kappa, if you don't know what it is, set when it's flipped, destroy 2, target face down, spell and traps on the field. It's absolutely necessary, so just be careful when you're playing it. You know, if you have 1 card set and they have 1 card set, you're going to have to target your card, so make sure it's at least something you can chain. But it's just not something they're expecting. They're expecting like maybe a Snowman Eater or something. They attack into it, boom, Green Kappa. They just lost 2 cards. It's a 2-for-1, so it's just absolutely awesome. Neospatian Grand Mole, he's usually a main with my gadgets, but since I'm running the Dark variant, I just kind of sided him, pull him in against any decks that have pretty beat stick monsters, huge boss monsters, Dark Arm Dragon, JD, pretty much anything. Even GBs he's not too bad against because they're not really going to attack into him, so he's kind of a defense. But you know, I don't always side him against GBs, but he always has his place. Triple Jujus, just because I don't know, for some reason this deck tends to have a problem with Gladiator Beasts. I don't know what it is. I guess they're a little bit more consistent and a little bit faster. But Juju just pretty much tells Gladiator Beasts that they can go die. Triple Trap Hole. It's not a card that you're going to really see a lot, but honestly, I think it's a great card, especially with Bottomless being at 2. People don't expect you to side in Trap Hole very much, but it's great against, you know, X-Sabers. I find it's really good against 6 Sams, which I really feel are going to come back with all these new true 6 Sams coming out in the 6 Samurai Synchro. If you don't know that, check it out. Storm of Ragnarok up on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wikia. 2 Crevice, just absolute good card. Remove from play two monsters of the same attribute from their graveyard. Get it out, you know, get rid of Dark Arm Dragon, get rid of JD. It's just absolute good card. This deck sometimes needs to get a little more defensive, so I got Triple Threatening Roar here. I find that this is pretty much always a good side deck card to have. I may find a replacement, but as for now, it's worked wonders for me, saved me so many duels. Just getting that extra turn for you. No need to worry if you don't have, you know, it's never a bad top deck, really. Double Royal Decree, obviously you can see it's proxied. I don't have one. It's hard to find for some reason, even though it's a common, but it's pretty good to side in just against anything that's running major traps, major back rows. I find that it actually kind of stalls Infernities a lot. Infernities kind of suck now, but you know, for what it's worth, it can help stop them. Burn decks, all sorts of stuff. So I think it has a pretty good place in there. As you can see, I need to kind of expand on this side deck a little bit, get a little more, you know, strategy in there. But for what it's worth, I think it's pretty good as it is. That's going to be the whole thing. That's my Gadget Dark deck. I'll probably put up a profile soon of my main Gadget deck, which honestly changes just about every week. I'm pretty bad about that. But comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the deck.